assuming that whoever has joined this event, they know basics about the Laravel and Eloquent. So let me just give quick introduction to what is Eloquent. Eloquent provides an active record implementation to interact with database, and Laravel is using extensively in all the versions of Laravel since its version 4.2. And when we say active record implementation, that means each table has a corresponding model, and you can use model to have the create, read, update, and delete operations with the database. So this is all about Eloquent. Now, of course, while working with the framework, one should leverage its power. Why I am saying is this, because I have seen that most of the Laravel developers, they are using Eloquent, but they are not efficiently using it. There are lots of tips and tricks of the Eloquent using which you can manage or you can have a better code, as well as you can have the performance improvement. But sometimes those tricks are not followed by the developers. So I would say that a developer is not harnessing the power of framework and its features. So Eloquent is one of the most powerful feature of the Laravel framework. And as a developer, you should know everything about it. So you can just have the better code and the better applications. So in this session, let's see the hidden powers of Eloquent. So let me just tell you about this session. What we are going to do is that I'm going to explain about the tip or the trick of the Eloquent, give the bit of introduction to that particular trick, and then we will see about how to do it in a code. Right. So let's just start with the first trick, clone a model. So using this trick, you can clone a database row, and for that we have a replicate method available in the Eloquent. Now let's say if we are not using this replicate method, then not what normally we do is that we fetch a row from the database, and then we make a new object, and then we assign all the values to that particular new object and save it. So that's a lots of line of code. But using the replicate method of Eloquent, it is just a one line of code, and you can replicate the row in a database. So let me just show you this in example. So I have created a controller, and inside that I have created one function. I have one table. The name of the table is employees. I'm fetching the first record of employees find, and then I am using new user replicate, and I'm just calling the method save. Now let's see this in action. So as you can see in my employees table, uh, right now I have 4 rows with ID 1, 3, 4, and 5. And now if I am cloning it again, model is cloned, check in database. So if you refresh the table, you can see one more row is added, and the entire first row is cloned in the second in the new row. So this is the replicate method which you can quickly use to replicate rows in your database. However, you have to be very sure that if your table has any unique constraint, then you cannot use replicate method, because that will give you unique constraint conflict error, because you cannot have the same value. So this method can only be used when you don't have any unique constraint on the table, and uh, of course some nullable fields as well. So you have to take care of that. But this is a very quick method for cloning a row in your table. So this is all about clone model. So yes, we have seen the demo. Now next is increment or decrement values. Let's say we have some number columns in your table, and you want to increase the value, like value plus plus or value minus minus. If Eloquent, if you don't know the trick of the Eloquent, then what you normally do is that you fetch a row, you update the model attribute by adding +1, and then save it again. So that's again 3 or 4 lines of code, because first you find it, then you fetch it, then you increment it, and then you save it. But instead of that, you can use increment and decrement method of the Eloquent, and you can give a column name which you want to increment. So let's see it in a demo. This is my function. What I'm doing is that I am having one column which is a casual leave, and if you see in the first record right now, I have a 12 casual leaves, and Now I'm using employee find one and I'm using increment function and I gave the column name casual leave. So it will increment the value by +1. So let's see this in action. Let me just run this route. Added one more leave count, check in database. Now if I refresh it, you can see my casual leave is increased by 1. Also, you can, it's not like you can, it will just increment by 1. You can specify the count as well. So here, if you see in this code, I want to increase casual leave by 3. So right now I have 13 casual leave, and if I again call this function, it will increment my casual leave by 3. So let's just execute it. And if you refresh it, you can see my casual leave is increased by 3. Same way, you can use the decrement function. So I'm calling a decrement function, so it will reduce my casual leave by 1. So if I again run it, reduced one more leave count, and if you see, my leave count is now 15. So this is how you can use increment and decrement function of the Eloquent to update number rows. So please note that this will only work for integer or decimal kind of number columns. You cannot do these operations with the string or string means varchar or text kind of columns. Right. Now let's move to our next trick. Check if record is changed. Of course, while working with a business application, when you want to see that whether is there any change in your record. So without Eloquent, if you are doing that, then what you do is that you fetch the record and then you compare each record's current value with the old value in the database, and then you write an if condition and something like that. So that is again a very large number of lines of code that can be reduced by isDirty method of the Eloquent. Now let's see the demo. So this is my function isDirty demo. I have one, I'm fetching the first row of my employees table and I'm checking if it is changed or not. So here it will say value is not changed, but then I'm assigning a new value to my name attribute, and then again I'm checking whether it's changed or not. So let's see this in action. So as you can see, first it is changed. First it is saying value is not changed because here I have just fetched the record. I haven't updated anything, and then I assigned a new value, and then I am calling function again. So that's why it shows this message. So isDirty can be used. So here you don't have to manually check anything. You just call the isDirty function, and if any of the attribute is changed, it can be easily detected, and then you can take a necessary action. So this is about checking the values of the model if it is changed or not. Next is get original values. Of course, when you are working in the business applications, you might want to do some validations with the old values. So let's say if user is updating something and you want to see what was the original value. So without using Eloquent, if you are supposed to do that, what is the normal procedure is that you have the updated values from the users. Now you find again, you fetch that same record from the database again, and then you see that what was the original values. So again, lots of line of code. But Eloquent provides a method which is get original, using which you can find out the original values of the model. Now let's see it in a demo. So here, as you can see, I am fetching the first row, then I am displaying the current name, then I am uh, updating a new value, and then I'm calling the get original, and I'm giving the column name that I want to get the original value of my name column. So let's run this function. So as you can see, current name is Hirendave. I changed name to current name is Hiren. I changed name to Hirendave, and original name was Hiren. So here I have specified the column name. That's why it's giving me a specific column name. If you don't give any column name, then it will give all the original values of the model. So yeah, that's about get original demo. Get changed values. Now again, as a when you are working on any of the business applications, if you want to get all the model attributes whose values are changed, then there is a function in Eloquent get changes which you can use. If you don't use that function, then again the trick is that you find the row from the table again, and then you do the if conditions and all, and then that's the process. Now let's see it in a demo. I have this function. Now what I'm doing is that I am fetching the first row. I am changing, sorry, I'm changing two of its attribute. One is the name and another is a designation, and I am saving the row. And then I'm calling the get changes function. So if I execute it, so as you can see, sorry, as you can see, it's printing all the records or all the attributes which are changed. So I have changed the name and designation, and of course I saved the column. So updated at column is changed. So this is how you can get all the changes which are made on a particular model by using the get changes function. So hope I'm clear till now. Now let's take a quick quiz. For this quiz, I'm going to flesh out some questions on the screen, and you just have to put the answer in the comment, right? So let's get ready. I'll just give you one or couple of minutes to answer that. Right. So first question is, what is the method of Eloquent to clone a row in a table? You can put your answer in the comments. Okay. And the second question is how to get old values of model attributes using Eloquent. What is the function name? Come on, guys, quick, give the answer. Okay, I see a lot of answer is coming. Great. Now let's see what is the answer, right? So answer is you can use replicate method to clone a row in a table, and there is a function called get original which can be used to get old values of model attributes using Eloquent. So hope everybody is clear till now, and whatever the tricks we have mentioned, hope you are going to try it in your project. Now let's move forward. This is one of the most important feature, I would say, accessors. Custom, you can add a custom values to models. Now, when we say custom attribute, that means that particular attribute does not exist in your table, in your physical table. So let's say if you have a table, this particular column does not exist in table. However, you can create it runtime and it will just act as a normal attribute to model in a memory. So in a database, that particular column is not there, but still you can use that. So let's see how we can do that. For that, I will open my employees model. Here, as you can see, I have added a function called get title attribute, and here I am combining two of my attribute, which is the name and designation, and I am combining it in a single string, and I'm creating a new attribute called title. So this is a syntax. This is a syntax you have to do. Get title attribute. That means it will create a new attribute in your model with the name title, and that you can use just like your normal attribute of Eloquent. Now let's see it in a demo. So yeah, this is my accessor. Now what I'm doing is that I am fetching the first employee and I am showing it title. Now, as you can see, this title row does not exist in my database, right? So if you see my structure, I have name, designation, date of joining, casual leave, approved or not, and my timestamps. There is no title column. But if I run this function, oops, sorry, function name is accessor demo. So as you can see, it gives Hiren Dave, the senior programmer. So as you can see, my current designation and name is this. So it combined it and give me the new attribute. So Use of accessor is to create the custom attribute which does not exist in your table, and it will just act as a normal column. So you don't have to create physical columns, and you can create it runtime. So that's the power of accessors. Yeah, so we already see the demo. Now another is mutators. Now it's actually an opposite of accessor. Let's say if you have some non-existing column in the model, but you can use a mutator to map it to the correct value in the database. Now again, let's go to our employees record, and here you can see I have created one function, set monthly casual leave attribute. So it will create one column, monthly casual leave. So this column again does not exist in my table. As you can see in structure, I don't have this column, but I am setting its value to 1, and in my Eloquent I am mapping that particular value to my casual leave by multiplying it with the 12. So on the front end, I am allowing user to set monthly casual leave, and in the database, I am saving it as a annual casual leave. So that's the power of mutators. There is a fact column, and that fact column is mapped to the original column. So let's run it. Right? Now, if I go to the database, you can see my casual leave is set as a 12 because I set monthly value as a 1, and I have an mutator which actually mapped that value to my original column by multiplying it with the number 12. So this is how you can map non-existing column to the existing column. So that's again a power of Eloquent, which gives you this function mutators. Right? We already see the demo. Eager loading with $with. Now let's first consider. Let's first understand what is eager loading. I'm sure everybody knows that Laravel Eloquent gives you a way to create a relationship between the models, and this model normally works on lazy loading. So lazy loading is, let's say you have a relation between a two table. You have a relation between a two table, and when you first fetch the parent table, its child row or its child table, child rows will not be fetched. Only it will only be fetched when you try to access it. So that's a lazy loading. But that gives you that increases your number of queries in your database. So let's say you have a 2 record and you have 4 child records. So that's the multiplication will be done, and that's number of queries will be executed. So obviously as a developer, we want to reduce number of connections and number of queries to the database. So here you can use eager loading. So what it does is that when eager loading is enabled by using $with, it will prefetch your relationship data, and it will not again make a database query. So it's like when your eager loading is enabled, two SQL statement will be executed. One is to fetch the main record and another is to fetch the relationship, but that is executed at the same time. So in one single database operation, all your data will be fetched. So for that, what I have done is that I have created a new model, which is projects, and I have created has many relationship with my employees table. So one employee can have many projects, and now I'm using eager loading over here. So let's go to the controller, and what I'm doing is that I'm using with project. So when my employees are fetched, it will also fetch all of its project. So this is an eager loading because I'm using the syntax with. If I don't specify this, then here it will be fetched again because I'm trying to call it again. So here in one database operations, all of my record is coming. So let's see it in an action. You will not be able to see any difference because here it will just print out my project name. But on the back end, the operation is that here only one database operation is done, and here there will not be any database operation. So this is how eager loading will be useful. Also, if you specify this protected $with project, so it will always fetch employees with the project. So here I am doing it manually, but here also I have enabled it with the syntax. So every time my employee model is fetched, my relationship is also fetched, right? So this is about eager loading. We already see the demo. Okay, now next is model keys. So model keys is, let's say you want to get a specific column value from the database. What we do is that we normally use a pluck function. So here, this is the normal syntax is. What I'm doing is that I'm fetching all employees and then I'm plucking the ID and then I'm calling the method toArray. So here my code is that I'm using pluck and toArray, two function. But instead of that, if I'm using model keys function, then I don't have to use this thing and it will just get all the employees array, right? So as you can see, 1 and 6. Clear? So this is how you can use model keys. So this is a shortcut of a way to use, instead of pluck and toArray, you can use a shortcut model keys, right? So we already see the demo now. Okay, again, time for a quiz. So let's get ready, guys. I'm going to show you some questions and you can put answer in your in our chat. So first question is, what is the use of accessor in Eloquent? The four options: to access the rowing table, appending custom values to model, to get access of database, or to get access of table. You have 30 seconds to answer. Come on, guys, answer the question. Okay, I can see questions, answers are coming. The second question is, what keyword is used for eager loading? Is it $fetch? Is it $eager? Is it $prefetch? Or is it $with? Answers. Yes, good, good. Great. So let's see the answers. So answer is, use of accessor is to appending custom values to the model. And the keyword for eager loading is $with. Great. So hope everybody's are with me. Now let's move on to our next trick, new query. Now see, this is coming from my personal experience, right? So new query is something, let's say for example, in my employees table, I have a column which is approved. Now I just want to fetch in my project, I want to fetch in anywhere I'm using the employees model, I want to get only and only approved employees. So for that, what I have to do is that wherever I am fetching the employees, I have to put a where condition that employees where approve equal to 1. Everywhere in employees model, I have to put a where condition. So of course, as a developer, we always wonder that, is there any shortcut that I don't have to use where condition? Yes, there is a shortcut for that. You can override a new query function of Eloquent. And here, what I'm doing is that I am adding a where row condition over here only, that you anywhere my employees are fetched, you just give me an option, or you just give me the employees which are only approved, right? So I don't have to use where condition everywhere. And so as you can see, I am using new query demo function, right? And it just give me 2 employees, because if you can see in my database, I have around 5 rows, but only the employee ID 1 and only the employee ID 6 which are approved, others are null, so these are not fetched. So this is kind of a global where condition. What we can say is that if you want to add a global where condition to your model, this new query can be used. And here you can have any number of combinations. So I'm using one column. According to your need, you can have multiple columns over here, right? So this is a kind of a global thing, right? Okay, we saw the demo. Now we have next is server to server or DB to DB copy. Let me just first give an introduction. What is this? Of course, when we are working on the Laravel application, we either maintain the read replica of the database, or we want to have a backup or storage kind of thing where we want to maintain the copy. So for that, what we normally do is we either use APIs or something, or let's say if you're using service providers like AWS or any other server providers, that gives you the server to server copy or database to database replica kind of thing. But what if this type of server infrastructure is not available and you still want to do this? Uh, in Laravel, Eloquent gives, there is a trick to do that. Along with that, uh, I want to cover a next topic, which is observer. I will show demo of both together. So let's first understand what is the observer. So observer is kind of an event listener to model. So let's say your model is changing or model is creating. At that time, you want to do some operations. For that, you can use Laravel observer. So here, what I'm going to show you in the demo, that I will add an observer to my employee model. And when my employee is created, I want to replicate the same thing in another database. So this is the demo of server to server DB to DB copy and Eloquent observer. So let's first understand observers. So to create an observer, there's a command which you can use, which is PHP artisan make observer, and there you can give the model. And when you create that, it will create one file in your observers folder inside your app folder. Name is employee observer, and it will create event handlers like created, updated, deleted, restored, and force deleted. So here what I'm doing is that I have bind the event created, and inside this I am creating a replica. So now let's understand what is my replica model. So in this replica model, what I'm doing is that I'm using a different connection, which is my MySQL replica. And now if you find out that connection in my database file, so this is my main MySQL connection. I'm getting the data from my environment file, and this is my MySQL replica connection. Everything is same. Only thing is I am connecting it with a different database. So here I have this Laravel Ahmedabad workshop replica, which is having the same structure, and this is also having the employee table. Right now, if you can see, there are 2 rows, and here I have 5 rows. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new employee. So in my controller here, I'm creating a new employee, which is, let's say I am adding as hidden replica, and I'm setting some values to it. What it will do is that as soon as I call this method save, it will call my observer and it will give me employees model over here. Now here what I'm doing is that I'm creating an object of employees replica and assigning all the values to employee replica and save it. And here in employee replica, I have specified the different connections. So what it will do is that it will create this object in my new database and new table, right? So let's see this in action. Right? So I have executed it. Now, if you can see here, I have created in my main database, the new row is added with the name hidden replica. And in the same, if I go over here, in my replica, also it is created. So here I am not using any fancy thing like APIs or anything. I am just using a power of Eloquent, which is it allows me to specify the database connection. So I am specifying the different database connection, and I have created the model. So it will create or replicate this particular model to the new database or the new server. So this trick can be used to create a real-time replica between database to database, or in the same database, but or in the same server but the different tables. In the same server but the different database. It can be same server, different database. It can be different server, different databases. Up to you how you are managing this. So this is how you can. This is how using the uh, observers and server to server copy, or by using a connection parameter, you can have a cloning process. So you don't have to create APIs, or you don't have to have fancy infrastructure. If you it's not available, still you can use that, right? So yeah, we already see the demo. Yeah, so that's about my session. Yeah, this is my contact information. If anybody want to contact me, they can send me this on email. You can follow on me on Twitter or Facebook. This is my website, hiren.dev and hirendave.tech, where I'm publishing blogs on the Laravel and all other technologies, right? Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching my session, guys. Hope it will be useful for you. And when next time you are creating any Laravel project, you will use these Eloquent tips and tricks in your project. And of course, apart from this, there are a lot of other things as well in Eloquent. I'm sure you guys can explore it. It cannot be covered. Everything cannot be covered in the single session. So I have just given the priority to the tips and tricks which are more useful. So hope you guys have learned the tricks, and next time when you are going to create a Laravel project, you can apply this trick. Right. So let's have some questions. Okay. Question. Okay. I'm getting a lot of questions. If we use row query, then we will not use custom attributes. Yes. So yes, if we are using row queries, then custom attribute cannot be used, and row query does not give that option. So this is the power. This is a feature of Eloquent only. So you have to use Eloquent itself. Okay, there's a question from Manoj. It says, if I'm change Eloquent value 5 times and wanted to see the 3 changed values, I think this is not possible because it will just maintain a record of last changed values. However, Laravel is an open source framework, and if you want to maintain a log kind of thing, you can use trigger for that. And by having a trigger, you can have this data, this value stored in your history table, and from that you can do that. But Laravel Eloquent history will be only for one transaction. It cannot maintain the series of the transactions. Question from Amit: can we create one observer for all models? Yes, it is possible. So here, if you create a common observer, here instead of this, it will be a generic model, and then you have to find out a class name of the model to identify what kind of object or what kind of model was changed. So yes, you can have one observer for all models. Bhargav's question is, what if you have multiple keys in a single table? Yes, if you have multiple keys, it will only work on the primary keys. So it will just give you the single keys. If you have multiple keys, then you have to use a plug function. Can we copy one table record to another table using replicate method? No, replicate method will work on the same table because it is because your model is connected with the same table. For having the replication on the different table, the observer syntax what we have used, that you can use. As I have mentioned, you can have same database and different table replica, or different database and different table replica.
I think Kiran, can we put all
Yes.
the other questions after the second session?
Yes, it will be better. Yes, because we are running out of time. So guys, put your questions, and we will entertain your question after end of the session. Definitely, I'll be there. Right. So we are going to answer all of your questions, and still, if your questions are not answered, you can contact us on our Slack channel, and we will definitely get back to you. Yeah. So thanks a lot. Thank you everyone for joining me, and yeah, that's what, Pavdeep.
Yeah.
Have the next session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hiran Bhai. You're really definitely, it will help for us in many sections, like creating a multiple database, and also like sometimes it will also help in multi-tenant applications as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's, guys, we will jump to the second session. So by Mikul sir, so he will deliver the session on Go Real Time broadcasting with Laravel, right? Let me give me a small introduction about Mitul sir. He is like you all know, guys. Last meetup, he delivered the session on Laravel Live, right? So similarly, he is like a king of open source contribution. He is the one of package Laravel generator. It's download more than 1.5 million. So you can get the ideas based on that how he is attached with open source contribution, right? He is the like founder of Increment Technologies, and let's start with him. Are you ready, Mikul sir, for the session?
Yes, Pradeep.
Yeah. So let me hand over everything to you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you please stop your
Yeah.
sharing so I can start? Okay. Let me know if everyone can see my screen. Okay. Yeah. So our today's session is building real-time applications with Laravel Broadcasting. So how we can build some real-time applications, and that is why like I put this all real-time things. So yeah, let's see. So yes, already Bhavdeep did my introduction. Like I'm working with Laravel since 2012 or like early 13, and I just love open source and want to contribute there. And this is the repo where you can find my contribution for open source, github.com/infeomlabs. This is where like we put these all things, and this is the repo that we will see today as a demo. And right now it is private, but I will just open source it once this session is done. And yeah, I just do some Laravel consulting, and I'm programming by passion, and I speak at multiple Laravel events. So let's start it with PHP applications. So what we generally use with PHP applications so far, when someone asks like what you build in PHP, our general questions are like, say, website development or API development or e-commerce apps or sometimes static websites or sometimes some products. But nothing comes to real time when we generally talk about PHP, right? We still know that, old things like we are polling or Ajax calls or something like that. So now what is real-time applications? So real-time applications are now taking a trend. Now there is an era of real-time application where no one wants to refresh a page. Oops, there is one typo, but yeah, like even when we are using right now on web, we do not want to, hit refresh, refresh, refresh. We want to see everything on screen just like we are using it. So how it works? So we all almost know, like whoever worked with little bit about or little bit with real-time applications, they know it works with Socket.io, and mostly all the real-time applications are take over by Node.js. So if someone want to tell us I want to build this real time, then the people go for Node.js. Like you need to do Node.js thing. It can not be built in PHP. But that is not actually the thing. We can build real-time applications with Laravel and just without leaving any comfort of PHP, right? So what can be use cases? So let's talk about little bit about the use cases, what we can build. So first thing that comes is chatting. So we can do real-time chatting, and that is what we are going to see today. Notifications. So we all know, like when we use Facebook or any other social tool or any other even project management system, if we are building, so say someone did some comment on your task, right? Then you want to see some real-time notification on the header. So that also comes, like if you are seeing the page, someone else, like some other user of or your teammate is doing some comment, then it will call the PHP API. Then how PHP can tell actually the front end that some comment has been done, and you update some UI on the browser without refreshing the screen. The third thing can be real-time collaboration, that we can treat it as like if you have used Trello or any kind of Kanban board, or even we can say like Google Docs or something like that, where one card is moved to other column or whatever we are calling a list or something like that, then it will be reflected in the real time on the other person who is watching the same board. Other than that, it can be real-time updates. Like we all know, now we are making dashboards, but if there are some dashboards where lots of data is coming on the back end, so say like IoT devices or something like that, or there is some stock chart or prices of the cryptocurrency or prices of the currencies, that kind of thing is there where we need to update chart in real time. Then that kind of use cases are there where you can use Laravel Echo or Laravel Broadcasting, where you need actually updates from server to the browser. Otherwise, what we generally do in the PHP is like we call API from the browser to server, but server never send any information to us back, like whenever something happens on the server. So these are some use cases that we can build. Now let's see Socket.io. So now what is Socket.io? So Socket.io is event-driven library which enable us to communicate in real time in full duplex communication. So we all know, like when we were studying in college, there was something like this keyword that full duplex, single duplex, or some single way communication, that kind of thing. So when we do some API call, right, that is one way communication, either from mobile device, either from browser. We are saying something to the server, but server never says us when something happens on the server, right? But on socket.io, that is possible. We can have a full duplex communication. And to do that, socket.io actually uses two components. One is Node.js server, and another is JavaScript client-side library, which is actually the socket.io client, right? So that is how it works. So there is some server and there is some client, and this both talk with each other. So this is some diagram which is REST versus WebSockets. So in generally REST, we all know, like even I know from 10 years from now, what I was doing was I was doing polling. So I continuously call backend API and I put some timeout. So say something is coming. So I make a call, then I wait for 1 minute, then I make again a call to the server, then I again for a minute, then I again make a call. So that kind of things we are doing when we need some real-time update. So there is only one way. You ask for something and server responds. You ask for something, server responds. But in WebSocket, what is possible? When you ask something, server tells you something. Even server can tell you something, and it is even in the real time. Like it can send something to you, on the same time you can send something to the server as well. So that is how basically it works, right? Now let's move to now Laravel broadcasting, right? So what is Laravel broadcasting? So Laravel broadcasting can, increase the possibility to us to update, send updates from back end to front end in real time. Even it supports multiple connectors. One is socket.io, another is pusher, and even you can do that without leaving any comfort of PHP and Laravel. Like you do not need to work on any kind of Node.js server code. It is just simple as you are dispatching some Laravel events if you have already worked with Laravel events, right? So we create one event class, then we dispatch it or broadcast it, and it will just work. So how it works, let's see, like with both of the channels, with pusher and socket.io. So pusher is something where you don't need to manage any kind of things. You just need to integrate the pusher SDK. They have very fine plan where you can send, I think, 1 million or 2 million messages in their free plan, and you can have 100 concurrent connections. So if your application is really small, then you can plan to use pusher, where you do not need to manage any kind of backend thing. But if you are planning to have your own thing, then you can use socket.io, where you can have your own Node.js server running on your server. So let's first see with the pusher. So how this thing actually works. So imagine we have three users, user 1, user 2, and user 3. Now we have a Laravel application and we have a pusher. So we have a pusher service, I mean. So what happens? Either user 1 or user 2 or user 3 calls the API of our Laravel application. So what Laravel application does, it sends or it calls the same API of the pusher. And when you are using the pusher library on the browser, it will make a socket connection, real-time socket connection with the pusher server. So whenever you are saying something or any of your user is saying something to Laravel application will tell pusher, and pusher will send update to the all the users or to the user where you want to send it. So it is just simple. Like there is someone, because PHP itself cannot manage real-time connection, right? So it will tell something to pusher and pusher will tell something to all of our users. So this is with pusher. Now let's see how it works is socket.io. So when we are using socket.io, we need one more component, which is Laravel Echo server, and you need Redis. There is a concept in Redis that is called publisher, that is publisher and subscriber. So there can be one topic or something like that, where anyone can publish and subscribers can subscribe, so they will get real-time updates. So here what we are doing is Laravel application will publish a message to the Redis, and our Echo server will be subscribed to the Redis. So whatever Laravel application is telling to the Redis will tell to the Echo server. So this Echo server is actually one Node.js server, right? So it will send then updates to all of our users. So where we just need to focus on our Laravel application and do not need to do anything or any programmer with Echo server or Redis pub shell, right? So that is how it works. Now let's deep into Laravel Echo. Like what is Laravel Echo and how it actually works and what we need to do. So it is basically one JavaScript library, and it is actually event driven Laravel or channel and events driven broadcast library, I will say. So yeah, if we are using a pusher, then we need to run this command: composer required pusher PHP server and 4.0. And then we need to, this is actually the backend side, and this is actually the front end side where we are installing the npm package. We will all see it in demo, but we have some time constraints, so we'll not go and install this everything. So I've just listed the steps here, but these all steps are already listed over here as well. So if you go here in Laravel documentation, right, and there is a very fine steps here. So you need to composer require, hit this, then if you are using Redis, then you need to add Redis, then you need to use broadcast driver to Redis. If here you need to use pusher, right? So there is all the steps are available there. Here you need to install Socket.io client. So all the steps are being available very briefly over Laravel website documentation, right? So if you are using Redis, then you need to run these two commands. But if you are using pusher, then we need to run these two commands. Now, what is actually channels and events and how it works? So channel is something where, so let's consider you have one kind of say we have one big tank of water, and there are 10 pipes, and then in those pipes, like big pipes, there are some small pipes which are coming out of that. So channel is something from where the data will flow, right? So and like it is basically the thing which you want to communicate. So channel can be like the name of your room, like in which room you are doing chatting. It can be the name of a user to which you are doing chatting, right? So it is kind of the way to controlling the access of different stream of information. So say you can have channel of notification, you can have channel of like chat updates, you can have a channel of like chatting. So that kind of channels you can create. But what you need to take care is, when you are defining a channel, you need to choose wisely how you want to create channels and what information you want to send it. So channel should be always created by the type of information, right? So that is something called channel. We'll see it in demo, like how it works. And there can be three types of channel. One can be public channel where anyone can subscribe with, and there can be private channel where you can put some authorization logic, like who can connect to this channel, and it will be prefixed by private dash, right? And there can be one presence channel. So that is something like when user comes offline or go come online or go offline, even to particular channel, right? As we are seeing in chatting, like when someone goes online or goes offline, that is kind of a logic where it can describe your presence. So when you join some channel, uh, then it will acknowledge your presence in that channel. So these are three mainly types of channels that we have. Now move to events. So what is event? So now we have a channel. So say we have a channel called like chat updates, right? But we have 10 chats. So what can be event? So event can be like, event is, you can say, kind of handlers or name messages. So say consider there is a room, or say there is one home where there are 5 rooms. But when I say like Hiren, then only Hiren will respond because he is subscribed to the name of Hiren, right? So the channel is the same. I am broadcasting message on the whole channel. There are 5 rooms, right? But only Hiren will respond from his room. कि कौन है भाई, कौन बुला रहा है, right? So that is kind of event. So you can then, when you have decided like that, I want to post an update or broadcast an update about chat, but with chat. So that can be your event. Like I want to update chart, which is say like USD to INR, or I want to update a chart, which is say EUR to INR. So that kind of events is possible. Basically, you can treat as a router of your channel, right? So it can be client side router where you can actually filter it, right? So that is event. Now let's see about configuration, the same thing that we have seen in the even Laravel documentation as well. So this is the config file which you need to where you can actually make some updates, but it is not necessary, completely optional. If you are going with just a Laravel way, then nothing needs to be updated. There are 3 kind of drivers available. One is pusher. So if we are using pusher, then we need to specify pusher, redis, and log. Log is something that which will actually log all of your messages directly to log file, where you do not want to send any updates or something like that. And one thing that you need to do is you need to uncomment this broadcast service provider in your config/app.php in providers array. So that's it about configuration. Now there is one inbuilt file which is coming with the Laravel, which is resources.js and bootstrap.js, where they are already providing this code, but it will be commented. So if you are using pusher, then you need to uncomment this code, where you need to put these keys, like which you will get from the pusher. So this is the configuration about pusher, and this is about socket.io. So just like we need to update our broadcaster plus required thing, and then like Laravel Echo, and also we need to install Laravel Echo server. There is a very good documentation on installing Laravel Echo as well. Sorry, Echo server as well. So this is what we need to do configuration. And after doing this, the most important thing that you will need to do will be you need to run npm install and npm run dev. And you need to include your app.js from public folder to your application. We will see this all in the demo. So yeah, let's see the demo. So this is an application. Let's see first like how it works. So this is one chat that I have built. There are 2 users online. So I have opened one browser over here, which is this user like me. There is one another user which is logged in over here. So if you see, like if I send some message over here, let me resize it. You all can see my screen, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So let me resize it. This is a very basic UI that I have built for just a demo. So might be there can be some bugs related to scrollings or something like that. But yeah, so let's see send some message. Hi Mitul. And you see, this is replicated over here in the real time. So this is Firefox, this is Chrome. So let's send some message. Hi Ankit, how are you? You see, it is actually added over here. And if I close this tab, right, you see Ankit is online here. And if I close this tab, then will instantly go offline, right? And if I open it again, he will be back to online. So now let's see some code, how it actually works, right? So yeah, so what I did is like basically first of all I just created one very basic UI. So if you go to home, if I go to web, I have a home and I have a home controller. So if I go to home controller, it is returning like home index view, and it is sending all users into that, and it is sending all messages with sent by. So we have 2 tables, messages and users. And let's see the schema of that. If I go here, this is the schema of messages, where it is very simple: who sent the message, what is the body of the message, and ID and timestamps, nothing else, right? And yeah, so that is about the message table. User is normal Laravel user table, nothing special, name, email, password, that's it. So yeah, it is doing this thing. Now if we go to the index.blad.php, what it is doing, so it is rendering all the users. So I have made some components like a chat user and chat message component. So if we, so what we are doing, we are running a loop of user. If you can see here, all users and as a user. So we are rendering this component and we are passing user there. And if we open chat user component, then it has this kind of HTML where we are doing some data use, defining some data attribute for, you know, letter manipulation. There is an image, then there is a username. Then we are checking if the user ID is same as authenticated user ID. Then we are adding this minor u to the text. And then we have this online and offline thing. Just consider here we are adding a danger class and offline. So by default we are adding it as offline. So all the users which are rendered are by default offline. Then we will make it online. We will see next how we are doing that. So this is basically the UI. So if we check it over here, it is simple like image, name, and online offline status. So by default they are offline. Now let's move to our message component. So which is chat message component. Over here we have uh, the this kind of HTML where we are attaching chat left or right class, because we want to see if I am the user who have sent this message, then I need to uh, align it to right, otherwise left. So what we are doing over here is, so say like if the message sent by is auth ID, then align it to right, otherwise align it to left. Pretty simple CSS. Then we have an image where we are calling author URL of the sent by. So if I go to the message model, we have a relationship sent by with user, which is belong to relationship. And then we have a message, and then we have a timestamp created it, and it is basically formatted to hour and minute, right? So yeah, that is what about the UI. So in first place, this all things are rendered. So whenever any user open the page, it will render this all the UI. But the catch is all users will be offline. So that is what the home.index does. Nothing special. We have one form over here to send a new message. Now the main logic that we are doing is in chat.js. But before that, let's see all the steps that we have done. So if you go to composer.json, I have already installed pusher because I'm using pusher. Then if I go to package.json, I have installed pusher.js, and I have installed Laravel Echo as well. You need to install either one, either pusher or socket.io. So in the same way, if you go to composer.json, either you use predis or you use pusher servers, right? So any of one you can use. And then if I go to app.php in config, you see I have uncommented this line. This line comes by default commented when you do any fresh Laravel installation, right? So I have uncommented this, and what is basically do, it publish the broadcast route. Same way we are publishing auth routes, right? Same. So it will be publishing some internal routes, so you can use it. Now, so yeah, that is about the installation. Then we have a webmix file which is coming by default with the Laravel, and we open bootstrap.js. Then if you see here, I have added this thing like Laravel Echo, pusher.js, broadcaster is pusher. These app keys are added. So if I go to .env, it will have those pusher keys. Don't worry, I will just delete it after this meetup. But yeah, you can uh, get these keys by creating an account on the pusher. So yeah, that is what we have. Then I will run, npm run dev on my terminal, and it will create one file which is in JS, app.js. So this file will be basically created, and this file needs to be added in your index.js. Sorry. So yeah, if you go to layouts.app, and if you see, we have added that JS file over here. These are some dependent libraries like jQuery, Bootstrap, Popper, Nice Scroll, JS Render, and those kind of things. So now let's see this file. What is exactly in chat.js? So yeah, this is chat.js. So this is one file, like I will say 122, including comments and everything, but less than 100 lines of code, which is managing this whole chat application. So this is something I have tried to put all the comments, what I'm doing. So later on, maybe if you are checking a demo, you can actually check it, what exactly this code does. So this is something to initialize just a nice scroll library on the container, and we are scrolling to bottom. This is CSRF protection, which Laravel is giving, or I think you all are familiar about. Then this is where the all things works. So if you see, we are listening for this event. So why this? So let's go before that. So we will skip this right now, and let's see what happens. So whenever we are hitting a send button, it is calling send message, right? So what send message does? It just collect a message from the text input, and it calls the API, which is send message URL, which is basically the send message, which is this route, right? So whenever user is sending a message, it is calling the API. Let's see. So if I go to inspect element over here, 1 second, okay. And if I go to network tab, and if I say, how's it going? You see, it is calling one API, which is send message API, right? And it is sending a message to the server. Now what server is doing? So this is the function in controller which is handling that. So it is getting a message from the text, then it is creating one message object where it is putting a message text in body. Sent by is assigned by authentication user, and it is saving. Now what else it does? It prepares one response message. This is something like which we need on front end. So we are just designing this message the way we need in front end to display those all informations. If you go to chat message, we need like ID, sent by, author URL. So these kind of things are prepared over here, right? But then it uses broadcast a new chat message event, right? So we are then sending this message to there. So what this is, it is one event. So this is something important. This is how you send update to the front end. So I need to create one event which should implement the interface should broadcast. And this is all about our label in this document. So if you are following that, so you see you need to dispatch an event. It should implement the should broadcast interface, and then you need to define the channel on which channel it should broadcast. So what we are giving over here is broadcast on Laravel Live chat. So this is our channel name, and I'm using public channel, right? So anyone can subscribe to. The second method, broadcast with, what data you want to send to the front end, right? So I'm sending message and this message. So whatever data I have prepared over here, so I'm sending this data to the front end, right? So and another thing, it should implement interact with socket interface as well, right? So these two things are really important when you are dispatching a event, and that event should be broadcasted over the socket to the front end. So do not forget to implement these two things, right? So yeah, it is dispatching one event, so it will dispatch this event on this channel to the front end. Now let's get back to the chat there. So here what we are doing, here we are listening for a message. So how we can do that? Pretty simple. Echo dot channel, here you can specify a channel name, and then you can listen, and here this is our event name. So this is the same event name class which we are specifying. So exact same message should exact same name of the event should be given over here, right? And then we are getting message. So if you see here, we are passing a message property, right? So we will get here message. So the same message that we have sent from here, this message will be retrieved to the front end, and then it will add this that message to, it will prepare the data which is need. This is pure like JavaScript that you can understand very well. And then it is appending that HTML output to the chat container, which is in our index.js. If you go here, this is our chat container where we are rendering every message, right? But this is now done by jQuery and that kind of thing, right? And then we are doing scroll to bottom. This is some logic which you can understand from JS render. So this is the library which is JS render, so you can use it. It was very handy to like render complex things and that kind of thing. So we have used it, but it is just some JavaScript code, nothing special. So now let's come to the presence channel. So how this particular online offline thing is working, right? There is a documentation for that as well that you can read at the bottom, presence channel, right? Let's see that. So what we are doing, this way, like we can create a presence channel and subscribe to. But before this, what you need to do, you need to go to channels.php, which is in routes. Like if you go to routes.channels.php, you need to create one channel over here. Then you need to specify if the user should be able to subscribe to user updates. So what I have did, like if the user is subscribed, then I can do that. But you can write any custom logic for this. If user can join this chat, then you can see like if the user is really in this room or he has permission or something like that. Any kind of permission check you can make over here, right? So yeah, you need to create one broadcast channel over here. Then we are specifying a join. Then there are three functions here, joining and leaving. So here function will be called whenever you just join this channel. So say like I'm over here, and if I go to console, I remove it, and if I do refresh, right, then you see I got two users. One is Ankit, one is Mitul. So these two users are already online. So current users of this channel who are present in this channel will be given over here, right? And whenever someone is joining a channel, it will be given in joining function, and when someone leaves, it will be given in leaving channel. So now what we are doing, whatever users we are getting, we are calling update user status function. We are passing 1 for online, 0 for offline, and then we are doing just like jQuery thing, that find the element by data user ID, find the online offline text element, we remove the danger class, we add success class and change text to online, or if it is offline, then we change text to offline, add red danger class. So yes, that is what we are doing. So yeah, like it is a lot more thing, but if you really understand a code, then you can check this code which I will be sharing. But it is pretty simple. Like if you see in less than 100 lines of code, our group chat application is fully working, right? Even less than, like, because all these things are not related to actually chat. These are the main thing that is covering related to chat. All other things are pure HTML and CSS, so you can manage that based on the need of your UI. So, and even this is not just group chat, a lot more than that. So uh, it is not just like, you can just build this kind of simple chat applications, but we have even built a full-fledged chat application, which I can show you a little bit demo. So if you see here, uh, this is one chat application which we have, and which we have built already. So okay, so you can create, like conversations or groups, or even group chat is possible, block users and all those kind of things. So we have built this all fully group chat applications, right? Even if someone has seen your message or not seen your message. So if I'm sending a message over here, hello Laravel, right? Oops, this is pretty old session, I think. Okay, let me refresh. If I go here and say hello Laravel, and you see it is added over here. Even it is seen over here, right? So this kind of whole thing is possible. It is just not like they are, even the group chat is possible. A lot of thing is possible, which are the members of the group. You can see them, you can remove them, block them, you can add more members, right? So uh, it is not just you can build simple chat applications, but you can go far to any level and build any kind of applications like full chat. Even lot of features are there in this chat application. And there is another kind of application as well. If you see, this is one application where we are utilizing the Echo. So if I move this file to here, again something is session out, but this is something like related to, or you can consider as a Trello or something like that, which is possible with even Laravel as well. So this is a one full product that we have already built. I can show you some demo with real-time collaborations. Okay, so these are the two users who are logged in differently. And if I go here and drag and drop over here, right, you see it is disappear from here, and and it is already over here, right? So it is already moving. And even that, if I open this review and if I open this particular thing as well from here, so this is something where you can draw your annotations or something like that. So uh, these are two things. If I go here and if I draw something over here, it will be real time drawn over here. If I do some comments, so say there is no comment right now, I'm selecting it, I put some comment, hello, and I save it, then it will be reflected in real time over here. So any kind of this real time tool, if you want to do, this is purely using PHP, Laravel, and Laravel Echo, nothing else. You can draw anything over here. So let me change some color, right? And if I draw over here, then it will draw the same thing on the front end as well, this user as well. And you see the name are already reflecting. So this all things are possible by just using PHP. There is no need of any kind of Node.js or any kind of thing. So this kind of real collaboration tool are also possible to build. So yeah, and yeah, if you want to see the full-time application we have built, then we have that available over here. Say like which we are planning or we are already giving discount. So if you want to see the full code, or if you want to learn how the full chat application works, then you can go and purchase it. Our basic goal is like you can understand the full code, how you can implement group chat in that as well. And we will be giving 20% discount for next 3 days, where you can purchase it in less price. But it is like you can go and learn how all the things, how this code is assembled, how this particular group chat is working, how block feature is working. And if you have some application where you want to integrate the chatting, then it is possible. You can integrate it in any Laravel application 6 plus. So yeah, so yes, that is what like I have to show. I know like it is not possible in the full thing, like it is hard because of time constraint, but yeah. So yes, any questions from you guys, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mitul bhai. It's really amazing session. Your presentation skill is like very amazing.
Thank
I
you very
just
much.
yeah, I just enabled the chat section. So guys, if you want any questions, then you can ask right now.
Yeah, and this the demo application which we have seen, I'll be open sourcing this code, so it will be available uh, just after this meetup. So, and I think discount thing is already live, so you can go and purchase that as well. Is pusher is free, so pusher is free, but not, I will say, if you have a huge traffic. If you go here and see their starting plan, and then they are giving some sandbox plan where you can say in 2 lakh messages per day with SSL protection, and you can have 100 maximum online users. So if you have a small application, then it is kind of usable, but if you have more than that, then you can go and purchase your plan. Otherwise, like, you can go with socket IO way, where you need a Redis server, and you will need like a Laravel Echo server. So let me give you some brief steps on that Laravel Echo server. It is um, almost like, you just need, if you have low traffic and if you don't want to use pusher, then Echo server can be a good choice as well. So where you need to do just npm install -g Laravel Echo server, and then run Laravel Echo init. It will ask some for information, like what is your host, what is the port that you want to use, and then you need to run command Laravel Echo start. You also need to give Redis connection credentials and something like that, but it is also pretty easy, and lots of tutorials are also available for using Echo server. This is completely free. You don't need to use pusher at all, and your whole code will just work the way you want it to work. So if you have any question, then you can always ask me.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
I think something wrong happened. I don't know. Uh,
So guys, any question for Hiren sir as well?
Task Reviewer is a product which we are implementing for some client, but it was just for like demo purpose. Like, you can build something like that as well. Maybe I lose some other questions, but yeah. And yeah, if there is any other question, then you can always ask on a Slack that we have for Laravel or Laracon India. So I will try to answer them there. Yeah, question for Hiran Bhai as well. You guys can ask, like, you can mention his name. Livewire, I haven't tried, but it is possible, but I'm not sure right now, honestly.
So any other question, audience? Otherwise, we are going to close.
I think we are already on time, so we can move to closing. And yeah, if any other question is there to anyone, then they can connect to me on Slack and Hiran Bhai as well. Thank you, Bhavdeep.
Yeah, and yeah, thank you much, Mitul. And also connect the guys on Twitters and Instagrams, so they all get the latest about the events, and as well as we will share the presentation link over there. So this is our account. So thank you so much, guys, participants, and I just put you a to night to cancel the. So guys, we will see you again next another event. We are closing now. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, right. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Mitul, for a great session.
Yeah, thank you, Hiran Bhai, as well, for the great session.